Go back 60 years or so, and only a few countries, nations like Cuba and the DPRK, faced sanctions or embargoes from the UN and Western powers. Today, more than a quarter of all countries, producing nearly a third of global GDP, face sanctions. That, according to a new report from the Center for Economic and Policy Research, a U.S.-based think tank. Sanctions have become a common tool for U.S. administrations.
New sanctions today.
Sanctions.
Sanctions.
Sanctions. Sanctions.
And key U.S. allies.
New sanctions. Sanctions today.
The report finds that sanctions have had a brutal impact, contributing to poverty, inequality, reduced health care access, even impacting child mortality and lowering life expectancy in some countries. Despite common humanitarian exceptions to sanctions, the report finds that overwhelmingly it is the most vulnerable who suffer the most under sanctions, and not the political, military, or business elites the sanctions target. Typically, sanctions aim to pressure governments to change policies seen as harmful to Western security or interests. Research suggests sanctions often have limited success in achieving the desired outcomes. Russia currently faces sanctions over the ongoing crisis in Ukraine.
Russia is convinced that there is a real alternative to such a destructive course, a policy of blackmail and illegitimate sanctions. This is the strengthening of stability in the world, the consistent building of a system of unified, indivisible security, the solution of large-scale tasks to ensure economic, technological, and social development.
China faces U.S. sanctions, including some aimed at China's rising tech companies.
China has always opposed unilateral sanctions and long-arm jurisdiction that have no basis in international law and are not authorized by the UN Security Council. China has always carried out normal economic and trade cooperation with countries around the world, including Russia, on the basis of equality and mutual benefit.
Despite evidence that sanctions are often not effective and can have a devastating impact on the lives of civilians, there's no sign the United States or other Western countries are backing away from using sanctions as a foreign policy tool. Jim Spellman, CGTN, Washington.